getting the ear of thousands of potential customers. The right marketing campaign, partnered with the right message, can and will bring results. Because when it comes right down to it, it's not about how much you invest, but what your return on investment is. We can work with any size budget, large or small, and will assist you in crafting the right message to drive customers to your products and services. To get started, call 989-348-6171 and discover why Q100 Michigan has been voted the Traverse City Record Eagles simply the best radio station for the second year in a row. Together, we'll make this the best year ever.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
It is time for the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, and that is brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord, Sarah Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram of Kalkaska. Start your stress-free car shopping experience when you search Sarah Kalkaska and Sarah Gaylord. Rich Calkins and J.J. Rowell in this morning. And J.J., you and I were on the call last night on a big 35-0 win by Traverse City West.
What a night it was at Thurlby for the Pink Out and Senior Night. It was so much fun to watch that game.
Yeah, and we've had incredible weather for most of the fall this year. Another Friday night of just gorgeous weather. We had a solid turnout, and like you said, a couple of great causes with Senior Night. We have quite a few really good seniors on this team, and also, of course, honored were seniors in the band and seniors everywhere that partake in the fall sport there. And it just was a great performance by this West team. They really are kind of finding their groove here late in the season.
It really is. We've watched over the last few years, we've watched a lot of different programs and just how they approach their warm-ups, how they approach things on the field. And there really seems like Coach Wagner, in the 2 short years he's been at West, you can see a transition in the program.
Yeah.
You can see a mindset on the field that just, you're right, it's gotten to another level.
Yeah, it really has here. And again, we have a recorded interview from last night. Let's listen to Coach James Wagner and some of his thoughts after the game.
Time now for the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Michigan Trailers. Michigan Trailers is always focused on delivering excellent value and service to every customer. You'll always find the best value for your hard-earned money at MichiganTrailer.com. Now to Rich Calkins and Coach James Wagner.
All right, thanks, JJ. Like you said, here with Coach Wagner and the Coach's Corner. And Coach, 35-0, big win. Team was focused. Offensive contributions all over the place, and you pitch a shutout in front of the nice crowd here on Senior Night, but also Pink Night here at Thurlby Field.
Yeah, great night for West. Great night to be a Titan, and it was awesome to be able to give these seniors a win like this on just a great senior class. I mean, so many of them pregame. I mean, 20 of them that are just kids that are dedicated and just hungry and wanting to compete and wanting to win and wanting to play more. And so, really proud of these guys and coming out and being able to take care of business and take care of this week. And, it was a great night all around.
Yeah, offensively, the mix of the pass and the run working both as well. And once again, senior quarterback Owen Hendricks throwing the ball. I tell you, the wind was blowing out there a little bit. Didn't matter. Those tight spirals were cutting right through the air.
Yeah, he's truly a dual threat kid. I mean, he can run it, he can throw it. I mean, he's a dangerous player. And he had a little bit of a foot issue going into the week, and so we tried to limit him in the run game this tonight, and so. We were glad. We felt like we could throw the ball, and he definitely did tonight, and it was awesome to watch him do it.
Yeah, Coach, unofficially 238 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns. That'll work. Drew Esper threw a touchdown. Hey, how about that? Also caught a touchdown and caught 136 yards in receiving yards. That's, a huge night for him.
Yeah.
Aiden Griffiths, how about him? He had the big INT, also got a touchdown. And Colton Court got that touchdown late. And the defense
defense all night. Forced 4 turnovers, 10 tackles for loss, 5 QB hits, and a punt block there. I mean, Coach, really, just a great overall.
Yeah, they played well. I mean, they were really focused in this week during practice, and it just for these guys, I mean, it just showed. They came out and we said, show up, show out, and they did. And defensively, I'm just really proud of my guys. I mean, we're stout, and we got some really good guys on that defense that love to fly around and hit people and make plays, and they did tonight. And I'm really happy for a guy like Aiden Griffiths, who injured early on in the year with his broken tib fib, and coming back and being able to play on senior night, getting a touchdown for himself. I mean, that's awesome. Colin Core getting a touchdown as a senior too. I mean, it's an awesome night. I'm really proud of these guys. I'm really proud of the seniors.
So that's what Aiden had, was a broken tibia fibula type thing?
It was a broken fibula. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Not Aiden Hutchinson.
I was going to say.
Not Aiden
very
Hutchinson.
familiar. Okay.
Not quite that bad.
Okay. Yeah, but no, just a remarkable game for him here tonight. And he's going to be your Jimmy Johns.
Yeah, absolutely. He deserved it. He just, he had a night tonight, and it was awesome for him to be able to do that in front of his home crowd here on senior night. So
yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. Incredible effort for him. And then and then his parents will be the parents of the week this week here. And then I think I'm gonna go with Owen Hendricks as our Fox Motors motivated player of the game.
I mean, he played his butt off. I mean, he threw it all around and just been able to deliver. And he's just so calm and poised, and that kid's a winner. He just wants to be able to take this team as far as it can go. So
I'm so impressed in how far he's improved the read option with. Knows when to tuck it and run, and then knows when to give it up. And we have the best view in the house up here, Coach.
Yeah.
And he fakes us out all the He puts that ball in the belly of the running back, and man, he'll rip it out of there. But then the back does their job in carrying out the fake, like they've got the ball. So I mean, it's working from 80 feet in the air, Coach. It's doing its job.
Well, that's great. I'm glad we're able to fool you a little bit, but as long as you're fooling the defense, I guess that's what matters.
That's the main thing, for sure. Yeah.
No, he does a good job, and those fakes, all those things, those details, they matter, right? And so, just really happy, for them to be able to execute when they needed to on a night like tonight, and now the fun begins. Like as you head into next week of Patriot Week and Traverse City Central, obviously rivalry game, going to be a huge matchup and a huge atmosphere for these kids to play in, and I mean it's just so much fun to be able to play in a game like that. So these we're right where we want to be. We're excited about the opportunity to go and play in that game, and and who knows after that. So
right, word up here in the press box that they won 20-0 tonight, and so that's good. Want them to win up until they play us.
Sure,
and then in the Patriot game, and again, we got them last year, Coach. A real emotional win.
Yeah.
It was a huge win for West. They had not won the Patriot game in a while, and it's just it being your first year here, your last game of that season of your first season. It was a great win.
Yeah, it was a win that honestly it sent us into the offseason with a lot of momentum, and just the guys wanting to be able to come back and continue to get better and compete in the offseason. And, that game meant a lot to those seniors of last year, and I know these seniors, it means a lot to them too. And so, I mean, it's going to mean a lot every single year, but, I obviously I never want to lose that game. I never want to lose it for these seniors. I mean, they're just absolutely phenomenal kids, and just want to be able to do my best and do my part to be able to give them the best opportunity to go out there and have success.
Yeah. Coach, congratulations on the big win. Looking forward to Patriot game next Friday night, and we'll talk again next week in our pregame show.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right.
Looking forward to it. Go Titans.
So, Coach James Wagner there with a good interview, and just want to talk about JJ, re-emphasize again that big 35-0 win by Traverse City West again. And we all believe that with a win against Central next week, which will be a hard-fought game, no question about that. That Patriot game, the 4 years that we've been covered. It's a matter
of pride.
It certainly is. And so, again, those adages of throwing the records out the window, all of that truly is a fact in this game. But some of the stats from last night, as Owen Hendricks, he threw for 238 yards and a couple of touchdowns. You've just seen this senior just continue to grow and grow and grow. And he's throwing the ball here towards the end of the season so well.
accurately.
He's hitting his receivers right in stride. He's got such a tight spiral. He can throw deep out routes or deep in routes, and it doesn't matter. He's just not making those short little dump off passes. He can fling the ball down the field, man, 35, 40 yards just in a tight window there. That is just absolutely fun to watch. And an incredible game by junior Drew Esper. I always keep thinking of him. He's a senior because he played last year as a sophomore. But again, as he played so well as a sophomore last year, he was all Saginaw Valley. Well, he's obviously going to be that again this year. He had 3 catches last night for 136 yards, including that big 80-yard touchdown run that it was all Drew Esper.
It was. I mean, he caught that pass from Owen, shook a couple defenders, and then tightrope the line for about 20 yards, and then was just free.
It had that great stiff arm early on as a Bay City Western defender tried to come in and tackle him, and he just gave him the old Marshawn Lynch beast mode stiff arm towards the upper body there and knocked him down. And then
you forgot one stat for Drew.
Yep.
He threw a touchdown pass.
He did throw a touchdown pass
as
well. That's right. He was getting it done all ways. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea was Drew Esper there. But, Aiden Griffiths, thank you.
We keep wanting to say Hutchinson.
I know, yeah.
Because he's on our brain, but it's Aiden Griffiths. We were
talking off the air about Aiden Hutchinson. But Aiden Griffiths, really nice game for him with the touchdown catch and a pick. Colton Core with a big touchdown catch as well. Again, he's that tall receiver that we have that is our kind of our possession type receiver. But, kudos to the whole defense as well as they forced 4 turnovers last night. When you do that, good things are happening. They had 10 tackles for loss, 5 QB hits, and a punt block as well. So it's overall just a dominating performance by this West team.
And it was lost to a holding call, if I remember right. Dylan Dunklow, interception, 40-yard, I believe, return for a touchdown that got called back for a flag behind the play. But did the interception still stood? It did stand. It was after the catch.
Yeah, it was after the catch. That's a penalty. But he was so excited when he got into the end zone. It was such a bummer there, so that it didn't count. But so the way it sets up for next week in the Patriot game, 5-3 Traverse City West versus 4-4 Traverse City Central. Traverse City Central must win to have any chance to get into the playoffs, and we believe West is at that point as well. Right now, West sitting in a number 4 seed, according to a very good prognostication website that is out there that they do. And very seldom through the years have I seen this person ever be wrong.
And you showed me how that. I mean, I still don't. I understand it, but I don't understand it. It's not wins loses, it's not points scored, it's teams beat, what division they're in, and bonus points, and it's very confusing.
They got rid of the Michigan High School Athletic Association got rid of the 6-win mandate to get into the playoffs, because let's be honest, some teams were loading up with inferior opponents just to get into the playoffs. Get that 6-win and you're automatically into the playoffs, where there were some 4-win teams that had really hard schedules that weren't playing later on in the season, and it wasn't right. So now you get rewarded for playing tough teams, bigger teams, above your division, and so there's a whole lot of math going on there, JJ, and that last year was the first year that it was implemented, and there were a lot of 4-win and 5-win teams that made it into the playoffs and made deep playoff runs. Because let's say if you're a Division 2 or 3 team and you play a bunch of Division 1 teams, well, you're playing bigger teams and you get some wins against that. You get huge bonus points for playing the bigger school, especially if they have a great record. All that comes into play, who they play and what their records are. So it goes 2 and 3 deep as to how all these multipliers and bonus points are figured out.
Well, I'm glad you've got a website prognosticator to clarify, because it'd be Christmas and I'd be still trying to figure out who's in the playoffs.
It can be tough, that's for sure. But again, that's why I'm only as good as my sources. And you after a few years, you figure out who the good ones are, and you take care of it that way. But, well, you know what? We're going to have an interview coming up next here. We're going to talk to someone that didn't play last night, really wanted to play, but the team that they were scheduled to play, they had to forfeit because they didn't have enough players. But we're going to talk to Kevin O'Connell from Gaylord St. Mary's, the Snowbirds.
And how does that work in playoffs when you can't get points because the team?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
that's not fair.
I know it all is a bummer, but they've got a huge game coming up next week against Inland Lakes, who is a juggernaut in 8-man football. So you're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford in Gaylord and in Kalkaska.
Michigan Trailers near Chum's Corners is having an end of the summer sell down right now. Over $5,000 off of the tremendous selection of trailers in stock and ready to roll. All prices are clearly marked on over 150 units. The best selection of utility trailers plus the best service, parts, and accessories, all at Michigan Trailers on US 31 South across from Menards in Traverse City. Visit in person or online 24/7 at MichiganTrailers.com. Let's go Titans!
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
Celebrate Halloween with Odawa Casino Petoskey at the huge Halloween Bash and Costume Contest, Saturday, October 26th in Victory Sports and Entertainment. Think your costume is the scariest, the sexiest, or the most original? Enter the costume contest to win cold, hard cash. There's even a prize for Best Group Costume. Music, dancing, and fun at the Victory's Halloween Bash, October 26th. Doors open at 8 from Odawa Casino Petoskey and Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and J.J. Rowell in studio with you this morning. And joining us now is the head coach of the Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds, Kevin O'Connell. Now, Kevin, I have to ask, buddy, you didn't have a game last night. Did you spend quality time at home, or were you out on the road scouting?
I didn't scout. My kid Chummy had a few buddies over, and they went fishing, and I drove a mile down the road and watched Joburg play Mansalona.
Okay.
So.
Well, good. I knew you would be doing something along those lines, Kevin. So that's, it's those Friday nights and those Saturday afternoons, it's in your blood. So
yeah, I had to get my 11-man fix in.
Yes, exactly. You compare and contrast the differences. Is there some things we can adapt to our game? What can we do here? So
absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, Coach, we haven't talked in a couple of weeks, Kevin, and, standing out to me, your on-away game, that homecoming game, you put up 64 points there. The next week against Pellston, you put up 62, and then the Meesick last week, 69 points. Really seems like that offense is really chugging along here.
A lot of the credit goes to Coach Czerwinski, and he's done an outstanding job with our scheme, with the personnel that we have. Like anywhere else, I mean, the scheme has to match the personnel.
Sure.
I think one of the reasons why we've gotten so much better is our quarterback, Hogan McKinley, is, if you saw him come off the bus, you'd think he's a golfer. There's nothing football-esque about this
right.
kid, but, he's a 4.2 student, National Honor Society, just a really smart kid, gritty as heck. He's got a scar from his elbow to his wrist from a broken arm last year. And, since January, he's really embraced his role and really has done an outstanding job just taking over the offense with a lot of the reads and stuff. And the Veer offense is not easily adaptable. It takes a lot of time, a lot of reps.
Sure.
And when you have smart kids, you can do a lot of things. And he's gritty, he's tough, he's smart, and what better kid to have in that position? So he's surrounded by some good kids too, a nice offensive line, and he's got some nice running backs. And so we've been able to diversify some things offensively, but really our nothing's really changed. We want to pound the rock, and that's what we do.
Okay. Now, Coach, everything's moving along. How are you doing health-wise here after 8 weeks in the season?
Well, as you know, we've been kicked in the butt with injuries.
Right.
We lost Ty early in the playoff or early in the scrimmage. We lost Cash. We lost Lucas early on against Pelston. We lost our starting linebacker. Robbie broke his collarbone. So it's kind of odd. I looked at it and I go, oh my God, we got 6 guys in injury and between JV and varsity, and we've been able to move some kids around and play different positions. So. We're still in a good place, knock on wood. We're still in a good place injury-wise. The past few days we've been able to try out a few kids at some different positions and see what they look like. So I like where I seriously like where we're at. It stinks that our kids have injuries, and they're not nursing injuries. They are season-ending injuries.
Right.
And that's what stinks.
Yeah, that is too bad, Kev. Now, so even do you have quite a few of your kids going both ways then, Kev? All of them?
It's 8-man football, Rich. Of course we do. Yeah, I would say we have about 6 kids that go both ways. Yeah.
Okay.
We got about 6. We got 5 that never leave the field. So.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, Coach, because even with JJ and I calling Division II and Division I games, it's surprising, even at that level, how the amount of when you have certain athletes on your field, you want to keep them on that field, and we have certain kids that won't come off the field as well.
Bay City Western, last night Bay City Western they had a full squad.
Yeah.
They had like 45 kids on the field, but their starting quarterback also played linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That sounds like the Tom Mack days of Detroit Catholic Central.
Well, that's exactly right. That's like, hey, give me a kid that's your starting linebacker and your starting quarterback. You never have to worry about toughness there. That's for sure.
No.
But Coach, of course, okay, we got to get to this. The big one next week. You play Inland Lakes. Is that going to be a Friday night game or a Saturday game, Coach?
It's kind of strange. We're playing on a Friday night. It'll be new to us. We haven't played on a Friday in a few weeks, so we're looking forward to it. Everything we thought was going to happen is happening. We're going to play for a conference title. They're undefeated.
Right.
I think they're ranked 2nd in the state in Division I, and deservedly so. They are loaded. They are very good at every position. They're big. They're fast. They're strong. They lost in the state finals last year, and I think they're better this year. They're just very, very good, led by a quarterback, the Aiden Fenstermaker kid who, man, you can't catch that kid in a phone booth, man. He is just good.
Yeah.
So we got our hands full, but it's not as if it's anything we didn't plan on since January, to be honest with you.
Sure. Yep. So obviously this week, the defense taking proper angles, doing all that stuff, Coach, is really going to be stressed when you have a kid that is super elusive, super fast?
Yeah, it is. And the defensive mindset changes every week. If you get, say a T scheme, a down pull scheme versus a zone scheme or a high hat passing scheme, your D-line has to diversify every week. So with I-Lakes, you have to be incredibly disciplined. You have to trust your keys and get your run fits. And if you don't get your right run fits, they will exploit you for 60 yards. They're just that good. So we've been hammering out the past couple of days, which we've been afforded to do, is just, working on reads, maybe tweak our scheme a little bit and do some things. But we have to be incredibly disciplined on defense, and then offensively, we have to control the clock. We have to, I like 10-play drives and keep their offense off the field. That would be great.
Sure. And, Coach, I know that is a bummer that I know you tried to backfill the schedule when you found out that the game was going to be forfeited. You weren't able to do that. But it did allow you then this extra prep time for Inland Lakes.
Yeah, our kids would rather play, but in hindsight, at the week's end, we got a few extra days in. We were able to spend a lot more time on individual stuff, weight room, heel, and really not really focus on scheme per se, but just kind of get better at your position kind of things was our theme this week. So, yeah, it paid off. We had some kids that, little bumps, little bruises, and we weren't overly physical this week, so hopefully it allows those kids to heal up by Monday, because Monday is a grind day for us.
Right. Now, Coach, like you talked about, the Ski Valley Conference has kind of played out exactly towards the top of the league, what you thought there with Inland Lakes at 8-0, you guys at 7-1. What about Bel Air at 6-2? Is that kind of how you saw that coming about as well?
Bel Air shocked me, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But, come basketball season, if they're not a quarterfinal or semifinalist team in basketball, you're going to be shocked. They just have very good athletes. They just are really thin up front. They have very good athletes. So they shocked me, to be honest with you. But so they're going to sit at 7-2 at the end of the year and get in the playoffs, and I'm very happy for them. I love their coach. And they have good kids, and deservedly so. I really do think they've done a nice job this year with the kids they have. They do a nice job. So, hopefully by season's end, we have 3 conference teams in the playoffs, which is really nice to have. Yeah. And we don't have to face High Lakes in the playoffs, which is nice too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Coach, again, from your standpoint, you never want to get ahead of yourself, but you do have an eye on into the playoffs as well. Like me, just being a media geek now, I get the luxury of looking at these different websites that are prognosticating, and right now, unofficially, as the number 2 seed in your district, and with some really good teams like Crystal Falls Forest Park, obviously very good, Cedarville, yourself, and Powers North Central, 4 really good teams.
Really good teams. Crystal Falls is loaded. Powers is very good. I mean, Powers has been in the state finals, I think, 5 of the past 7 years, and they're loaded. As a matter of fact, I called their coach 2 weeks ago saying, I know how this is going to pan out. We're going to see each other. It's just a matter of who has home field. So I think it's pretty much we're going to see Powers first round of the playoffs. It's just a matter of if we're traveling or if we're home.
Okay. Kevin, I'm heading to the UP after the show today to the Manistee area. There, Kevin, is there anything I can do, like scouting report-wise for you, bud, to help out? Or?
Oh, I love that. That would be great. No, I appreciate the effort, Rich, but no, enjoy the UP, enjoy the colors. That's going to be beautiful up there. You going to Kitchikippy?
Yeah. Yeah. Always go to Kitchikippy. My brother just bought some property up there, and he's building a cabin. And another brother of mine, we're going to head up there, help him out, and then, of course, make sure we have plenty of time to watch the Lions on Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your weekend is planned, Rick.
It is, absolutely. It sounds like a good one for sure.
Make sure you get us a Uper bar.
Yeah. So.
A Uper bar.
Oh, yeah. All right, Kevin O'Connell, you're the best. Appreciate you always joining us, willing to join us, and best of luck on Friday night at Inland Lakes.
I appreciate that, Rich. I appreciate you guys too. This is an awesome deal on Saturday mornings dealing with Northern Michigan high school football. I think it's pretty special. So keep doing what you're doing, Rich.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin O'Connell from the Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds. Kevin's just a great guy.
He is.
Absolute great guy. I say it every time we have him on, but I got to know him when he was the defensive coordinator here in Grayling. We talked football. It just really got that, established that relationship. He did such a phenomenal job with the Grayling defense, and he always wanted to be a head coach and parlayed that to being a head coach at Gaylord St. Mary's. And they were 11-man football for a long time. And then the numbers just weren't there, so they transitioned then to 8-man football. and just continues to churn along and qualify for the playoffs and get playoff wins, and just a quality program. More importantly, a quality human being.
If we ever get a chance to go, we need to go to an 8-man game.
Yes.
Just because I've never seen one.
Right.
I remember Arena League and how they used to do
Oh,
that
yeah,
with
how
8 men, and I'm
yeah.
curious to see, you know, as an old lineman.
Little smaller dimensions,
Yep.
little smaller, some things like that. But no, we need to a Saturday, because we're usually busy on Friday nights.
Right.
So, but yeah, we need to plan out a Saturday afternoon sometime. Go up and watch St. Mary's play and do that. We need to plan on doing that for sure.
It would just be interesting to see the differences.
Oh yeah, exactly. It is a different game. It really is. And so it just. But no, I agree. I think it would be a blast. And now with St. Mary's, with their home field and all that they have going on there, that's a great thing. I'd love to go see a game out there. We will definitely have to do that.
I'd love to see how they kick that ball in the hoop.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, we're going to have the head coach of the Gladwin Flying G's, Mark Jarsfer, coming off another big win in the Jack Pine Conference. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
There are so many wonderful things about fall in northern Michigan. Football, autumn colors, and the return of the fall favorites at Benetham's, like chicken morel pasta, veal tosca, and Salzburg schnitzel. Everything on the Benetham's menu is made with the freshest ingredients, and the daily appetizer and dinner specials are always delightful, especially paired with a great wine. Visit Benethams.com and make your reservation. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Visit Cornell Insurance in Grayling at 201 Huron Street next to Burger King, or online at cornellinsurance.com.
Celebrate Halloween with Odawa Casino Petoskey at the huge Halloween Bash and Costume Contest, Saturday, October 26th in Victory Sports and Entertainment. Think your costume is the scariest, the sexiest, or the most original? Enter the costume contest to win cold, hard cash. There's even a prize for best group costume. Music, dancing, and fun at the Victory's Halloween Bash, October 26th. Doors open at 8 from Odawa Casino Petoskey and Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and J.J. Rao in studio with you. And joining us now is the head coach of the Gladwin Flying G's, Mark Jarsfer. And Coach, a big 49-0 win last night in your crossover game against Sanford Meridian.
Yeah, that went about as well as we could have hoped, obviously. We really did a nice job in all three phases of the game, and that was a good win. We seemed to be peaking at the right time.
Yeah, that's for sure, Coach. It's been a few weeks since we talked to you. The week before, a very game Midland Bullock Creek team, as you guys won by 10, 28-18.
Yeah, and so, we kind of had a good reflective talk after that game, just as a team in our Monday meetings. We came out extremely flat in that game and really had no energy, and it had me questioning, how much fun these guys were really having playing football. And so, we talked a lot about that as a team, like I mentioned, and had some really, really good conversations. Decided to cut practice short on Wednesday, actually, down to about an hour, and we took the team bowling, and all of the emphasis was on coming together as a team, getting back to having fun, having energy, and all of that stuff that we talked about really showed up in a big way this week last night.
Right. And Mark, we've talked all year about this Jack Pine Conference, the Division I of it, and how tough it is. And that nothing more could be true than just a few weeks ago when Standish Sterling beat Ogama Heights. I mean, you and Claire and Ogama and Standish, and it's just like, and Standish is predicted to be a number 1 seed in their district for playoffs as of right now, and they've got 3 losses, Coach, and that's because of the quality of this conference.
Yeah, we, Coach Spranger from Claire and I, we always joke, because we're obviously very good friends, we always joke that, it's kind of the gauntlet now is what we affectionately refer to it as, because, we played all 3 of those schools, with that being Ogama, Claire, and Standish back-to-back-to-back. Claire played, that same schedule back-to-back-to-back. Standish played that same schedule back-to-back-to-back. The only one that didn't have to do that was Ogama, and they ended up winning the league. And so, we just all kind of beat up on each other. And, like we talked about on, earlier weeks of this, is that, that was really going to prepare all of these teams for the playoffs. And since Standish is Division VI, they're sitting really good with playoff points and a lot of good experience in close games, and I think that that's going to bode well for them in the playoffs. Hopefully it bodes well for us, but likely it'll be Claire, Gladwin, and Ogama in the same district, so we don't all get a chance to show that. But whoever comes out of that district, if it's one of us, is going to have a good shot at that regional.
Yeah, and Coach, now that, we're into this new playoff format, we're no longer just guaranteed playoffs with 6 wins, all the formulas come into it. And like you said, Standish is the perfect example of what, a smaller division school in this conference playing tougher competition, good competition, and they're going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah, and they should. I mean, that's a very, very good football team. Obviously, they have to be, right, to get that win over Ogama, because they're physical. Their quarterback does a great job of creating and extending plays with his feet. And so I would look for them to make significant noise in Division VI. Yeah.
And, Coach, looking at some of the kids that stood out the last couple of weeks, are there any ones that are really have kind of gone above and beyond the call of duty the past few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, 2 in particular, even, looking into last night, and it's been kind of a reoccurring theme. Our quarterback, Colton Finnegar, had 7 touchdowns last night. He was 7 of 8 passing for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That'll work.
And then he had 4 or 5 rushes for 125 yards and 3 more scores. And then his number 1 target receiver is Trace Corlew. I've talked about him on this show before as the last remaining guy from the state championship team, and this is kind of his time to shine. Last night he had, I want to say, 5 receptions for about 225 yards and 4 touchdowns, and so all of Finnegar's passing touchdowns were to Trace, and so those 2 have really kind of formed a good connection for us over the last few weeks. Defensively, our linebacker play and secondary play has really, really stepped up, and so, like I said, we're kind of coming together at the right time here, and boy, are we going to need it, though, because we have Frankenmuth this week, ranked number 2 in the state,
right?
And then we get into that district the next week where it's either Kingsford, Ogama, or Claire, and all 3 of those are ranked in the top 7 of the state.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, last night's performance almost like video game numbers, Coach.
Yeah. I mean, offensively, we had 25 plays for 430 yards. So, when you're going close to like 18 yards per play or whatever that is, it's hard to ask for much better.
Yeah. And, Coach, and you mentioned it, like you said, that really tough schedule you've had all season long through 8 weeks of the schedule. It certainly doesn't get any easier as the Dynamo in Frankenmuth as you take them on down at their place.
Yeah, and we're really excited for the opportunity, and that's what we've been calling it all week or in the weeks leading up to this with our kids is that it's an opportunity. A lot of people look at it as like a challenge or anything like that, but we really love these opportunities that we get to showcase our program on a big stage. And we had multiple of those this year with Gladwin and versus Clare, and then Gladwin versus Ogama, because those were both top 10 teams at the time that we played them, and we came up just short in both of those, losing by 5 points in each, and it really could have gone either way if we just made a few more critical plays. And so now then you fast forward 4 weeks from those losses, and we feel like we've put together a really good team, and we're kind of operating at a high level now. And so now we get one more crack at a top 5 team with second-ranked Frankenmuth to showcase our improvement and see if we can overcome that monster. And so it truly is a great opportunity for us, and especially knowing that we're already in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. We want to play well, and then from there, it's forgetting everything that happened in the regular season, and we're on to a new season in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but Frankenmuth, you've scheduled them as the last game of your season for the last few years.
Yeah, and so it ended up working out and making Coach Martin and I look like geniuses. We had no idea that was going to happen, but we scheduled that about week 7 of the year of 2022. Okay. We just got together at that point and said, hey, we both have pretty good teams. What do you say we get together and do a 2-year contract? Having no idea that we were going to meet each other in the state championship later that year, right? And have an instant classic. And so, when the schedule comes out the next year and we got the rematch, week 9, yes. It certainly made us look like we knew what we were doing, but it was just good old-fashioned luck.
Yeah. Well, again, Coach Mark Jarsfer from the Gladwin Flying G's joining us, and a team, Coach, again, you won a state championship just a few years ago, and you've really taken this Flying G program to a whole nother level. And again, I'm sure that the whole Gladwin community, it's just got to be ecstatic with what's going on there on Friday nights.
Yeah, and they're just as supportive as any community around. You know what I mean? It's just, you love it about small rural town football where, right. On Friday nights, basically everything closes down, whether you're home or away, and people show up for the Friday Night Light stuff. And so great feeling, when we went on that run a few years ago. Most weeks in the playoffs, we had bigger away crowds than the home team did. And so the Gladwin community definitely loves their Friday Night Lights, and we love having them there and feed off that energy for sure.
Yeah, and Coach, double checking what your schedule was this past year, definitely road tested as well, because a lot of those big games you've played were on the road, so you guys are not afraid to travel, and you're willing to play in a parking lot if you need to.
Yeah, that's always been our mentality, is that we'll play anyone, anywhere, and it really doesn't matter. And so we just, we believe in our systems and our ways and our preparation, and know that our guys are going to buy in and do the job that we're asking them to do. And regardless of the result, we're going to be proud of the effort that we put forward, and then, hopefully get to do it again week after week after week.
Yep. Well, continued success there to the Flying G's, Mark. I appreciate you joining us on the Scoreboard Show on Saturday. You're always very gracious with your time. Best of luck against a very good Frankenmuth team next week, and we'll definitely get caught up again here in the next week or so.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, Mark Jarsfer from the Gladwin Flying G's. And JJ and Coach Jarsfer brought up an excellent point there about, when these small communities, when you go on a magical playoff run like they did 3 years ago when they won a state championship, it's just the whole town just buys in, and you literally, the last person leaving Gladwin, turn out the lights, yep, because they're all down there at Ford Field watching them win a state championship.
In listening to you guys talk about the Week 9 matchup, and it made me wonder about our division.
Right.
Last year, Week 9 was the Patriot game.
Sure.
Central versus West.
Yes.
But then downstate, it was Midland Dow versus Midland High, and it was Bay City Central versus Bay City. Did they do that again this year?
They all do it on purpose, I think, to have that one crosstown rivalry game be kind of the last game of the year. And remember, the Patriot game used to be played earlier in the season in Traverse City. It was just the last couple of years now they transferred to doing it the last game of the year. So, and I like it much better because
it just makes it interesting.
It does, because you have that whole season to build up and have that be the crescendo at the end of the regular season. But like you said, all of these other towns that have crosstown rivalries are doing the exact same thing. And the schedule is loaded all throughout north central Michigan on the week 9 of the schedule. Gaylord St. Mary's and Inland Lakes, not all that far apart, but again, the two best teams are meeting at the end of the season to determine the championship of the Ski Valley League. And so it's just really cool when you have outstanding matchups in the last week of the regular season. It's like for all high school sports fans out there, you're going to be torn because there's so many good games going on everywhere. You obviously cannot be everywhere at one time. But, man, there are just some incredible matchups, and I just can't wait for all those scores to come rolling in, because it's going to be definitely check out the late night videos on TV if you can get. Last night we had a running clock in our game. I was able to get home and watch some video of the different games throughout northern Michigan, so that was really nice. I don't always get home in time to watch that from our games, our travels, but was able to last night, and that was a nice benefit of doing that for sure. But so when we come back, JJ, we're going to get a hold of head coach of the Grayling Vikings, Eric Tunney. They had a tough ball game against the Sheboygan Chiefs last night, but we'll talk to Eric in just a moment. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram of Kalkaska.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
It really is the flavor of the season. Oktoberfest at Trout Town in Kalkaska. Choose from chicken schnitzel or a sausage platter. Or choose them both with a combo. Add a Bavarian apple tort for dessert. Then pair it with a limited run of Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Saturdays from 4 till 10. It's a special menu at a special place. Get more at TroutTownTavern.com. Trouttown Tavern and Eatery for up north flavor.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Dog Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins, J.J. Rowell in studio with you this morning, and joining us now is head coach of the Grayling Vikings, Eric Tunney. And Eric, good to have you back, and man, a tough one, 30-22. You come up just on the short end against Sheboygan last night.
Yeah, it's good to be back on the radio. Boys played tough, and hats off to Sheboygan. They gave us everything and more, and we just a little too little, too late.
Yeah, and Coach, traditionally, I've been up there many times. Back in the glory years of the late 70s, early 80s, when Sheboygan was on that incredible undefeated run. It's just that place can be absolutely tough environment to play.
Yeah, for sure. It was homecoming for them. Their stands were packed, and it was definitely a tough environment. And hats off to them. They played well, and we couldn't get in any flow. They kept the ball from us and got 3-4 yards a pop, and I think they stuck to their game plan really well. And tough place to play.
Yeah, and Eric, we haven't talked in a few weeks, but go back to that win against Kalkaska the week before, where you guys won 25-6.
You've got to rub that in.
I'm sorry,
you?
JJ is. I have to. JJ's a Kalkaska alum, and him and I always go back and forth.
We don't hold that against him.
Right, I know exactly. He does a heck of a job, so he's a good guy.
Okay. It was great for the kids to get a win. It's the Guardian game. I always look forward to that each year.
Yes.
Playing for a trophy and obviously honoring all our military members, past and present. So, get a taste of win. The kids, it's been a long season, but they've been showing up every day to practice and still getting after it, which is great to see. It's a testament to who they are, despite not getting the win. So. Definitely was great to get their first win, and definitely something to build on.
Yeah, and Coach, like you said, you really find out the character of individuals, of young people when they go through a tough year, and no matter what, it doesn't matter. They still come out, they work hard, they do what they're told to do, they're doing everything they can. They may not see the results of it right now, but still it goes to the quality of the individual.
Yeah, for sure. And I tell them there's so much carryover with football and in life. And sometimes in life you're going to be 0-6. And can you still show up and do what you're supposed to do and work hard? And it's not easy to do. So,
right.
Sometimes the lessons you learn are painful ones, but whether they know it or not, they're growing and they're getting better, both as a football player and as a person. So hopefully we're developing some resiliency in these young guys.
Yeah, and Coach, you close out the season against the Tawas team. That's had a similar season to what you guys have had. What do you know about them?
Yeah, we actually scrimmaged them way back in August. So, I think we did pretty well against them in the scrimmage. One of my buddies I grew up with, he's an assistant coach there. So, we've kind of been talking back and forth a little bit.
Okay.
But just looking forward to senior night. On our parents, it's our last home game, and hopefully we can go out with a positive note into the off season.
Yeah, and Coach, the dynamics of the team this year, pretty young squad.
Yeah, we've got a lot of juniors. I mean, we always have seniors that contribute quite a bit.
Sure.
So we always got to replace those guys, but yeah, we got a lot of juniors playing ball for us, and there's a lot of potential, a lot of talent. They've shown some spurts of being really good football players. It's just the not having that varsity experience, the consistency isn't always there. So
sure,
in some aspects we've gotten a lot better at that, but experience is the best teacher, and they're getting better. Just got to be more consistent. For sure, yep. And on a side note, how's the youth football activities in the Tunney household? We actually got in the car as you guys called, so we're heading to Alpena for the semifinals for the 5th and 6th. So it's been fun to watch them. They play Kalkaska and Alpena at 2:00 today. So if they win, then we'll host the championship next Saturday. So cool. They're doing well. Excellent. Well, good. Best of luck with that. And again, best of luck next week as you take on Tawas and close out your regular season. So, Eric Tunney, I appreciate it. All right, you're the best. Absolutely appreciate you joining us, and go Vikes. Anytime. Thanks, guys. Go Vikes. All right, go Vikes. All right. Eric Tunney, the man at the helm of the Grayling Vikings, and that's, JJ, you and I, we both played football. I played other sports as well, but you just build so much character no matter what kind of season you go through. But when you go through those seasons where you don't win much at all, but it just, you build, like Coach Tunney said, it's the things that you take in later into life that you learned in a team sport activity.
I remember my senior year in Kalkaska, we went 2-7.
Right.
But even though I remember that final score, I don't remember those tough games, but I remember my teammates, and I remember the time in practice and the time together and the camaraderie. It was a rough season, but we did it as a team.
That's exactly right. You stuck together and stuff, and you carried out some of those things you learned during football, then a team sport activity, into the work environment. You work with the team there. You work with things. Now, again, that doesn't mean you always have to be best buddies with everybody all the time, but you learn the things that you have in common, and you work together for a common goal. It just is. That's what sports or any extracurricular activity are so important for the youth of today.
Exactly, and both you and I have also coached many youth teams, and the mindset from coaching has changed from years past. It used to be win, 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 and now it's just as much about developing a person as it is a player.
That's exactly right. Yep, the experience that they have, you want them to have fun and take forth life lessons, at every level, that's for sure. And JJ, I thought we have just a few minutes left here, but I thought we'd go over just a few scores from around the North, maybe that we did not cover earlier in the broadcast. We did talk about it a little bit. You brought up the Traverse City Central game. They did beat Bay City Central 20-0, so it sets up that Patriot game as a must-win for both teams, hopefully having playoff aspirations there. We just talked to head coach Eric Tunney of Grayling. Sheboygan did win that. That was a home game, and their homecoming. They did beat the Vikings 30-22. Escanaba, Alpena's had a tough year this year. Alpena got beat 47-0 against Escanaba, and Alpena has just been a tough one for them. In a little bit of a surprising score to me, and I bet James Cook, who we had him on yesterday during our Friday Face-Off show, East Jordan went into Frankfort and beat Frankfort 33-6.
That is shocking, because Frankfurt is usually a powerhouse.
That's right. Yes, it is. And so congratulations to East Jordan. What a big-time win that was. McBain, they continue their undefeated roll as they roll ROLL as they won 35-0 over Pine River. So they're sitting at 8-0 going into week number 9. Let me see. Midland and Mount Pleasant. Midland was in first place going into this game. They will remain in first place as they won a tight one, 10-7 at Midland. So, wow, what a tough one that was in the Saginaw Valley League. Petoskey, another one of our Northern Michigan undefeated teams. They're number 1 in the Big North Conference. They beat Sault Ste. Marie 61-0. They have got it going on in Petoskey.
That's a bad night if you're on the other end of that score.
That is true. Clare continues to roll as they beat Pinconning 54-28. Ogama Heights, also another really good team in that Jack Pine Conference, new this year. They won 64-28 against previously unbeaten Harrison. So Ogama taking out some vengeance against the Harrison team. Also, let me see, any other scores? Boyne City, they shut out Oscoda 36-0. And also Charlevoix, they shut out Tawas 38-0. Gaylord, they did travel. They put up a good effort against Jackson Lumen Christi, but came out on the short end of a 37-20 score, but battled tough. Midland Dow beat Lapeer as well, 23-17. So that's about it, JJ. Anything else that you need to talk about?
I was just looking forward seeing that Michigan takes on Illinois this afternoon.
Yep.
We'll have coverage here on Up North Sports Radio, pregame at 2:30, kickoff 3:30, and then next week we talk about Week 9 and rivalry games.
Yes.
Saturday night, Michigan State. We'll have coverage of the game here on Up North Sports Radio. And JC, who's normally here with you on Saturday mornings, he's going to broadcast live pregame from Alpine Tavern and Eatery in Gaylord from 5:30 to 7:30. So if you're looking for a place that serves some of the best wings in northern Michigan, or maybe a brick of fries, can you tell I'm the voice of their commercials? They've got phenomenal food, a great place to watch a game. Plus, JC will be there. He'll have some Red Wings tickets to give away. He'll have some Shanty Creek ski passes to give away. So if you're looking for a party for the Michigan State game, it's next Saturday, 5:30 to 7:30 at Alpine Tavern and Eatery in Gaylord.
Lots of good things going on. And then over on Q100, the Lions game will be played tomorrow, correct?
Yes, sir. A pregame at noon, kickoff at 1.
Yeah, and the Go Lions as they take on the undefeated Minnesota Vikings and their head coach, Kevin O'Connell. Not to be confused with Kevin O'Connell from Gaylord St. Mary's.
Didn't we just talk to him?
Yeah, we did just talk to him. Yeah, and he gave us all the game plan on what they're going to run. So, Dan Campbell, you need to get a hold of us here. You can do that. We know what they're going to do. So, anyway, but thanks for joining us here on the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, and we appreciate Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska, and we'll see you here next week.
We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636.